Hello everyone, my name is Joshua. This is the, 72nd video on my video journal series. Today's date is uh, Tuesday, the 21st of April 2026. And I'll start with how my day's been. My day's been very good, thank you. Hopefully your day has been very good as well. I know these last couple of entries have all been the same. Me wearing the exact same set of clothes, same jeans, same, I guess, top or jumper. So hopefully I'll be able to spruce up my fashion, and that's what this video is going to be about, fashion. Um, Obviously I don't really have much, sense in fashion. I really just wear whatever's available in my wardrobe, and the clothes that I do buy are quite, I guess, simplistic. They don't really stand out or anything. I just, wear jeans, a jumper, or just like a regular t-shirt underneath. And yeah, that's pretty much it. But whenever I go outside, I always like to look at, I guess, other people's fashion and see what's, I guess, trending. Um, and since I always go to like university and stuff, I like to look at what, I guess, other people are wearing. What jeans, what t-shirts, if it may be of like a band or you know television series or anime series, or maybe if it's just like a designer brand like Ralph Lauren. If a uni student could afford Ralph Lauren, but I just like observing fashion, and I'm not really much of a fashion freak. Obviously, I look like a sloth, but I guess I'm quite interested in seeing how fashion changes over time. You don't really see anyone go to university in like a suit unless they're like a lecturer or professor. You don't, I guess, see students in like a three-piece suit, top hat, monocle. So obviously fashion has progressed a lot. Over the last um, century alone. Um, but I feel like in some ways, fashion, it's like, how can I put it? Fashion is really hard to, I guess, define on its own. But I feel like, with fashion, I'm pretty sure it's like, you know, mostly about what is popular, basically. At least modern fashion is basically what's popular. Because some people, like stress over, I guess, what they wear, what's in fashion. Sometimes my mom's like, oh, why are you wearing this? It's not really in fashion. I'm like, I don't care what the new fashion is nowadays. I just want to wear what I want to wear. But, I guess, like, nowadays, I guess, you know, I see, like, I guess you see a lot more diversity in clothing, because if you look at a picture of like a society 100 years ago, pretty much everyone was wearing the exact same thing. Like all men were wearing suits, ladies were in formal attire. Everyone kind of like blended in when it came to like, I guess, fashion. But ever since like the counterculture movement of like the 60s, and continuing on with the 70s and 80s and all that, whenever you go out to like the city or even just out and about, you see like a great, I guess, diversity in people's fashion. So you got some people wearing casual, you got some people wearing formal, some people doing formal, casual, or just wearing, I guess, like a blazer, unbutton-up shirt. You got people, I guess, doing like cosplay, or just all these like, I guess, small little, I guess, differences. Some people might be wearing like a suit, but then you got another guy wearing a suit, but it's like a slightly different, I guess, color or style. So I guess in some ways it can be small, other ways it can be like big differences amongst people's fashion. But I kind of like the diversity of, I guess, fashion nowadays. I guess it was kind of bleak, when 100 years ago everyone was basically wearing the exact same thing. But nowadays, um, I guess you see a blend of, I guess, casual and formal, and just, I guess, people nowadays can like really express their identity through fashion, I believe. Um, I don't think anyone's just like, maybe except if you go to like a formal event, but I feel like you're a lot more free to express yourself. Kind of like getting a tattoo. Like if you see, I don't know, any old footage or just like stills from the past, maybe even like 30 years ago. Not many people got tattoos like 30, 40 years ago. The people that did were usually like um, people like criminals and people who were deemed quote unquote undesirable by society, or people who had like a criminal past, or were kind of outcasted. But now people are starting to get tattoos because they want to express themselves. And there's many different cultures around the world, like the Maori, which um, they do have, I guess, um, markings on their body that mean just a lot more than art. They're like an expression of culture, and there's a lot of workplaces today which unfortunately frown upon that. Especially when it comes to, I guess, like face markings or tattoos, or whatever the correct terminology is, because I don't know what the terminology is, and I apologize if I offended any indigenous person. But yeah, I guess you know I've talked a bit about fashion. I talked a bit about, I guess, how society um, changes over time, and I think like if you want to wear a suit, nothing's really stopping you from wearing a suit. If you want to wear jeans and a t-shirt, well, nothing's else stopping you from doing that. Maybe if you go to somewhere with like a dress code, but if you're walking just out and about, I feel like you're free to wear um, casual or formal. And I think nowadays, that's, I guess, one good thing about fashion nowadays is that, I guess, wearing casuals more, I guess, acceptable. Because if you wore jeans 100 years ago, people think you're like a worker in the mines, and they wouldn't really come up to you. They're like, oh, this guy, working in the mines. We're posh Elizabethans. We don't need that sort of thing. Actually, I don't think the Elizabethan era was 100 years ago. Um, it would have been close to the Victoria era, but the Victorian era ended around 1901, I believe, or early 1900s. So it would have been, I don't know what the specific era was. My mind's just turning blank. But anyway, back in the 20s, 30s, 40s, up until basically the 50s, um, maybe a little bit before the 50s, maybe 40s ish. Wearing jeans was basically, I guess, the workman's clothes. But now, people wear jeans out of public, and some jeans can really fetch a high price on certain auction sites because they're old and they're pretty much always in fashion. The jeans I'm wearing, they're pretty much the design um, of like Levi's jeans hasn't really changed a lot since its inception in like the 19th century. Um, so if you got a pair of Levi's 501, which I do, which I'm not wearing right now, but I do have in my bedroom, those ones haven't changed since literally the 19th century. So yeah, I guess jeans, yeah, they never go really out of style. Even when they do modify the design, it's like really, really small, like the stitching, or if they make it stretch to fit or whatever. Um, yeah, I guess it's really amazing how, like, I guess fashion can, change over time, but like some certain trends or styles um, or designs pretty much stay the same. But yeah, I didn't really, I guess, buy into like, oh, I go update my clothes every 5 years, sort of thing, to fit in with everyone else. I don't think that's necessary. Just wear what you want to wear. If even if it no one else is wearing it, who cares? Honestly, um, I don't go out and buy new clothes which you don't want to wear, but you just want to wear so then you keep in fashion. I think that's just incredibly stupid. It doesn't matter if you wear pants that are old or t-shirts that are worn. If you like it, just wear it. As long as it's not like offending everyone, um, it should just be perfectly fine. Sometimes I wear old t-shirts and old pants and old jeans, which clearly have seen better days. But that's in fashion actually. Jeans with like holes and tears and um, age to them. People, spend serious money on them, and sometimes they prefer it over new jeans. So really, I think fashion is kind of confusing. I find it interesting, fashion, but honestly, it is way too confusing, and I personally don't want to buy into it because I guess like maybe modern fashion trends and just trying to I guess dress like everyone else. And really, I don't think that's necessary. I think fashion should just be an expression of oneself rather than trying to conform to what's around you. And I guess like here in Australia, it is. If you go like maybe elsewhere around the world, everyone will pretty much be. Some countries, you'll see that all the men wear specific um, dress. Or not, I shouldn't say dress. Like wear a specific, I guess, outfit, and then the I guess everyone in that society um, pretty much wears similar style of clothing, if you know what I mean. So I guess like fashion can like really depend on what country you live in. Obviously, due to maybe like local laws or religious reasons and all of that. So I kind of like find it very interesting um, how I guess you know clothing and fashion styles might not I guess um, impact all countries the same, if you know what I mean. I'm most probably put it in like a very terrible way, but I'm just interested in, I guess, the clothes and styles and all that, I guess, fashion of different parts of the world, if you know what I mean. So, what people wear in North America, what people wear in Europe, what people wear in Africa, Asia, all those continents. And um, I guess like if you go to the United States, people will be wearing, I guess, a lot more different clothes to people in maybe Norway, for instance. Because Norway's got like a colder climate, so people were wearing more, I guess, coats, jackets, um, you know, like specific winter clothes, I guess, and in North America, I guess wait, depending you go in North America or the United States, but if you go to maybe like somewhere like Arizona, for instance, you wouldn't see anyone wearing like jacket kits or snow wear. It'll be quite the opposite actually. But yeah, I guess like how I guess not quite fashion, but I guess how like clothing, is obviously a reflection of the environment. If it's hot, you're going to be wearing, I guess, shorts, but if it's cold, you'll be wearing like trousers, sort of thing. But unless you're like me, where you always wear like long pants regardless of the season. Um, and yeah, I guess to cap this video off, I'm interested in looking at fashion from I guess a historical and social lens, but I wouldn't really, I guess, be involved in the fashion industry, and I respect those who are involved and those who I guess want to express fashion as an artistic design sort of. But with my advice with fashion is yeah, don't really try and I guess fit in with everyone else if you're not really gonna like it. I believe in just expressing yourself and just wear the stuff that you want to wear as long as it's not really offensive. Like you should be fine. If you want to wear a t-shirt but someone thinks looks old or whatever, then don't pay attention to them. Wear it because you like it. Um, hmm. Yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say, really. I'm not really a fashion connoisseur, but I like to hear other people's, I guess, opinions and takes on fashion. Um, Obviously, I guess fashion can be quite an expensive thing, like especially designer clothes and all that. Which is pretty much where I buy like secondhand stuff because, um, I feel like with fashion, like just for I guess point of reference, if something goes out of style, much like a car, it greatly depreciates in value. I remember one time I bought a Peter Jackson suit from Vinnie's, and now this is a more like a different story, but it really got me thinking about how I guess people throw away stuff because they deem it old. I got a Peter Jackson suit from Vinnie's. It had a price tag of $500 retail, but I managed to snag it up at Vinnie's for $50. Could you believe it? A tenth of the price. I bought pretty much a brand new suit. Um, because I was in Vinny's one day. I was like, hey, that looks like a nice suit. Original retail price $500, but I managed to get it for a tenth of the price. Pretty much one of the best deals I've ever done in my life. But um, it made me think, why did that person throw it away? What made him throw away that perfectly good suit? Um, like obviously maybe they wanted to donate to charity, but like, come on, it still had the tag on it. It looked like it hadn't been used or whatever. Um, so yeah, it got me thinking: do people just throw away like brand new clothes because they think it's like out of style, or they just want to make room for like more clothes? That's just like pretty much like an endless cycle. I must buy new clothes and then throw them out and then buy new clothes. And fashion kind of goes in a cycle where I guess it comes back every like couple or so years. Some things fall back into quote unquote trend. And then people are like, oh man, that dress I threw away? That looked pretty good, but now it's trendy again, so I need to buy a new dress. Well, no, just keep the stuff that you really like. If something has, I don't know, holes in it, or if you don't fit in it anymore, if you just want to give it to someone else, then do it. So, but like, it's just, I think, you know, most of it is, I guess, marketing by the fashion industry to get you to buy new stuff, throw away your old stuff, and then they want you to buy the new stuff, even though you just throw away your old stuff. But that new stuff is pretty much the exact same thing as that old thing, but you're still going to buy it anyway, and then you just throw away. So yeah, like things eventually come back into, I guess, quote unquote fashion or trends or whatever. Because now I know I said I was going to end this video, but I want to add one more thing because now, like, damaged clothing is pretty much like a trend now. Like, I see people with like hats where it's like worn around the edges, teared around the edges. That's coming like a new trend now. Jeans which fray at the bottom. Even if they might not be my style. People who purposely cut jeans to make them look damaged at the bottom or cut needed knees. Um, and I guess that's all part of fashion. Would I do that? No, but you know, I guess um, a lot of people willing. Oh, excuse me. A lot of people are willing to do that because I guess either they want to express themselves or maybe because it's fashionable. I'm not quite sure. Um, I guess everyone has their own taste in fashion, much like food and a bunch of other subjective things. Everyone has their own taste in fashion. Some people, like myself, might not really care, but other people, they do care how they present themselves because it is a self-expression of themselves. Um, and yeah, my advice is always just don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to be yourself, and let your, I guess, fashion or style essentially be a reflection of yourself and not just, I guess, a reflection of yourself, but not trying to, I guess, reflect yourself, if you know what I mean. Be a reflection of yourself, but not try not to, I guess, reflect yourself as another person, Be an embodiment of your character rather than trying to embody a character, if you know what I mean. But anyway, that's pretty much what I have to say about fashion. But like I said, I'd like to hear what you have to say about it. And that will be all for tonight. I guess I'll see you later. Bye. See you. Take care. See you next time.